Okay, when I do trees, I want to make sure that they look as natural as possible. So best way is to always start with just a straight line, and then I kind of crisscross like this just to kind of get a lay of how I want my tree to go. And as you can see, I have this navy blue shade that's kind of mixed in with some burnt umber just to give it more of an earthy look. And then I just start from the top and just sort of scribble with my paintbrush. And that's all I'm doing is just, I don't want to do a tree that goes like this over and over and over again. So I know that living here in Oregon, I see lots of trees and basically they're shaped pretty wonky. So I'm trying to not make things look perfect. And I'm just sort of brushing out and letting it kind of scribble all the way down. That's how I do a simple forest tree. That's it. I may take some more paint and just sort of dab it in the middle just to kind of make the color a little bit stronger, leaving some of the white or the sky color in the background. But that's it. That's a good Christmas tree. Now the ones in the background, I like to make a lighter shade, so I will add some water to the color that I was using so that it actually comes out lighter. And I'll kind of give myself a line here that I'm working with and do the same thing. I'm just going to start with a straight line, kind of crisscross all the way down. But this is going to dry darker. I mean, it's going to dry lighter because I added more water to it. So again, I'm just sort of scribbling all the way down. Trying to make everything a little on the wonky side. If you want to add a little snow, no problem. It's kind of the same thing. You're just going to dab on where the snow would go, which would be along the tops of the branches. And again, I'm just kind of scribbling it on. And this, you might have to put a little more effort into thinking, like, where does the snow fall? It falls on the top of the branches. And that's a simple thing. After this, I'll just kind of splatter the whole thing with by tapping on my brush with watered down white paint and get that snow falling effect. But yeah, this is about it. We're just taking white gouache paint, which is a opaque watercolor paint, and just tapping it on the tops of my branches. That's it. And then you can call this done, but you don't have to put snow on it if you don't want to. If maybe you want to just do a forest scene without snow, that's cool. Sometimes I like to add a snowman, and that's pretty easy, but it is several layers. So I'm going to start by just doing the shape, and around here snowmen don't look perfect, so what I try to do is just make it look like one that a shape that somebody would actually be able to form. Those picture perfect snowmen that you see in all the cards, well, that's not really how they come out when you try to make one. They're usually a little lopsided And so what I'm doing is just laying down the first layer, and after that dries, I'll add some more white to it to give it more of a definition. And yeah, we'll just start with here, and then we'll keep adding and adding and adding. But meanwhile, you can add more snow, or if you want to add a shadow, which I definitely want to do under this tree. Not that there's a whole lot of sunlight or anything, but I do want to add some shadow to this tree, and then maybe underneath where my snowman's gonna go. First layer dries, it's as you can see, it's washed out, and so what I'm going to do is take my white gouache with a little bit stronger strength, which means less water and more paint, and I'm going to go ahead and block in his body, but leaving some of the light blue as a shadow. I'll show you how I do that. This may take a couple of layers before I get it nice and bright white. And then I'm going to go ahead and outline a little snow guy. Rinse out your brush and then just blend in the two. Add some more white in the belly part and the head. Starting to look a little bit more like a snowman. We'll just keep it like this. If it needs another coat after it dries, I'll give it another coat. But I want to keep one side a little bit shadowed, and then of course down here at the bottom and around his neck area. So lastly, we're going to want to give our snowman some details, which in my opinion, we don't want it to look too cartoony. We want it to look more realistic. So I'm just gonna dab on a little coal using a tiny brush, and I guess I could put some buttons too, all different sizes. And then I'm gonna switch over to a burnt umber color of a stick or a branch of some kind, and give him two little arms. Everything should be a little off balanced for it to look more realistic. Put a carrot on it or not, but I'm going to leave that up to you, but I'll go ahead and put one in. And then a scarf or a hat is always good, or both. I think I'm going to go ahead and put like a little kind of a funky little straw hat on him. Maybe that's all they had around the house. And probably a scarf would be cute. And that hat's not done, it's just a first layer, but sometimes you do have to work in layers. And I think I'll just go ahead and give him a red scarf. And just keep it more natural. I could put a little mouth on him, some coal around his mouth, but I think this one I'm just gonna leave like that, and then when the hat dries, I'll give it another coat. Make his scarf come back here like this.
you can see, I went ahead and put some stripes on his scarf, put a little snow on top of his hat, and I'm gonna call this one done because I think sometimes less is more, and this is a cute little simple little Christmas card, winter card, and so I hope you were able to learn something from this quick little lesson. And